these people do love the establishment. Donald Trump is the establishment. I understand the argument of like Trump has the optics of being an outsider, the optics of being unfiltered and being a populist and being anti-establishment. I understand he has the optics, but you cannot lend that argument credence by pretending it's real and it's true. It's not real and it's not true, and Trump is the establishment.
Cenk Uygur is at it again. He went to the America First conference hosted by Charlie Kirk to further his reaching out to MAGA and the right wing for whatever reason. Kyle Kulinski on his show Secular Talk broke all this down. We're going to take a look at these clips from the America Fest conference as well as what Kyle Kulinski had to say about this. I'm going to share my own thoughts on this as well. Let's get into it.
All right, guys. So Cenk Uygur, he's been doing the right-wing podcast circuit since the election. And in his mind, he says, look, I'm trying to go out there and I'm trying to find areas of agreement between the populist right and the populist left to advance our agenda at a time when Trump won and the right won. And he says, hey, I'm finding a lot of agreement with these people. A lot of these people are agreeing on some, basic things that I'm laying out there. Now, I have a lot of problems with that. For one thing, I don't think the Tim Pools of the world and the Patrick Bet-Davids of the world, I don't think you could take them at their word. They aren't remotely populist. Are there Republican voters out there who maybe are part of a union and voted for Obama but then voted for Trump? Are those people reachable, and should you actually put in the effort to try to swing those people back? Absolutely, you should do that. But this is not that, right? This is right-wing propagandists who are part of their media machine, who are elites. They are not outsiders. They are not populists. And so I have an issue with that strategy. I have no problem going on Tim Pool or going on PBD, or in fact, I did go on PBD. I have no problem doing this right-wing podcast circuit, but it's got to be more adversarial. It's got to be more, look, we're going to debate, and I'm going to lay out my worldview and say why I think Trump is bad and Trump is wrong and why the direction we're going to go is negative, etc. Right? But no, so this one actually shocked me, right? Cenk went to America Fest, which is a MAGA gathering of the TPUSA crowd. Now, this is an event that Donald Trump spoke at, I believe the day after Cenk spoke. Like, Donald Trump headlined the event, right? So this is like the heart of MAGA land. And again, I want to reiterate, this isn't some union worker who voted for Obama then flipped to Trump. This is like elite MAGA insiders. This is where he went. So let's take a look. We'll watch this whole thing, and we'll see what we make of it. Here we go.
So, Cenk, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
I mean, right off the bat, I think Cenk should question himself. Why did they give me a warm welcome? I think Charlie Kirk said, hey, like, be nice or whatever, but why do you think they gave you a warm welcome? My guess is because a lot of what they've been saying lately on TYT is castigating what he calls the max left and going after them and fighting with them and really sort of putting an onus on their disagreements with the max left. That's probably why they're cheering you, Cenk, because it's like, hey, lately, these people have been fighting people to their left. So let me cheer them. That's my guess as to why they gave you a positive reaction. All right, here we go.
Cenk, the spirit of inviting you is that there's some confusion of these divides of right versus left, populist versus corporatist. I guess a good opening would be, as a man in the progressive movement, as one of the leaders of the progressive movement, what do you make of this last year, the state of the Democrat Party, and kind of American politics from the more progressive left perspective?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm proud to represent the left flank of the populist movement, and I think we need both flanks, so I'm happy to have this conversation. In terms of what has gone wrong in the Democratic Party, it's the same thing that went wrong in the Republican Party, but I do have to give you guys credit for a revolution well done. And what I mean by that is not a revolution against the Democratic Party or the left or the country, but a revolution against the establishment. So I knew you guys were for real in fighting against the establishment when I started going on right-wing shows and I would say something negative about Mitch McConnell. And when I did that in the past, what I would get back is, oh, no, Mitch McConnell's great. Pelosi's terrible, but Mitch McConnell's great.
Let's do that here. What do you guys think of Mitch McConnell?
All right. Yes, I love that. So look, for my left-wing friends that are watching out there, they just booed Mitch McConnell. That's a great thing, okay? And let's do one more. What do you guys think about Dick Cheney? My left-wing friends out there, we have been waiting for the right-wing populists to boo Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney our whole lives. Take the win. Take the win.
Cenk, the only reason they're booing Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney is because they view Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney as anti-Trump. They're not booing Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney because Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney are for wars and they're for tax cuts for the rich and they're for corruption and these people are against that. That's not the case. Because Trump is for wars and for tax cuts for the rich and does the corruption, and they love Trump. So you're giving them too much credit in assuming, hey, they're booing Mitch McConnell and they're booing Dick Cheney, and it comes from this sincere place of principled opposition to corruption and war and tax cuts for the rich. It's not the case. And this is my issue with what he's doing here is, Cenk, these people do love the establishment. Donald Trump is the establishment. I understand the argument of like Trump has the optics of being an outsider, the optics of being unfiltered and being a populist and being anti-establishment. I understand he has the optics, but you cannot lend that argument credence by pretending it's real and it's true. It's not real and it's not true, and Trump is the establishment. He is the establishment.
Now, what we need to do.
Before we get into more of this, I wanted to say Kyle Kulinski is exactly right with what he's saying here. Cenk Uygur has to know this, but what did Donald Trump and MAGA say for years? We're going to drain the swamp. Well, they're draining the swamp. They're removing or attempting to remove the swamp creatures like Mitch McConnell and Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney and these people, and replacing them with bigger and worse swamp creatures. Mitch McConnell is terrible, but the government still operates to a certain degree the way we need it to. Whereas you have these MAGA people who want to come in and just completely destroy the government so they can just steal as much money from the people as they possibly can. Now, the establishment Republicans and the establishment Democrats have been doing this as well, but you still have a semi-functional government. Trump wants to come in and just destroy everything, and the MAGA people destroy everything, so they can just extract as much as they can in as short a time as possible and just leave everything else in ruins. So it's not like if Trump were anti-establishment and he was going to come in and say, okay, our healthcare system doesn't work, so we're going to do what the rest of the world does and have something like Medicare for all. No, he's not going to do that. His healthcare system, if he changes anything, it will just make it more beneficial for the health insurance companies and worse for all of the rest of us. They act like they're anti-war. No, they're just against certain wars. They're against the war in Ukraine because they want Putin to have free reign there. And maybe go into Europe as well. But that doesn't mean they're against war in other parts of the world. They love some of the other wars that are going on. So this idea, as Kyle Kulinski is saying, that Trump is somehow anti-establishment. No, he's just anti the particular establishment that's in there right now. He's not going to replace that with people who are going to go against the insurance companies and the war profiteers and all of that.
In the Democratic Party is we need to do likewise. We need to have a revolt against the Joe Bidens, the Kamala Harrises, and the Nancy Pelosi's.
But this is why they bring you in. This is why they bring you in. They're bringing you in to shit on Democrats. That's the whole point. They want you to shit on Democrats. That's all they're taking away from this. The only vibe they're taking away from this and why they cheered you at the beginning is, oh, he's going to shit on Democrats. Hooray, keep shitting on Democrats. That's the problem with this, right? Is that if you actually tell these people in the audience the truth, that, hey, just so you know, Kamala Harris's policies were way more populist and way more pro-worker than Donald Trump's, they wouldn't accept that. They would boo in your face. They would tell you you're wrong. You'd be viewed as an enemy. Like it's becoming the oldest trick in the book. The right is great at dividing and conquering. And they're bringing in Cenk Uygur to shit on other Democrats. And people don't care about the nuance in his argument. They will walk away with the vibe of Cenk is shitting on Democrats. It's good that when he's shitting on Democrats, aren't Democrats so bad? So it's reinforcing their narrative. It's helping them with their propaganda. When the fact is, for all the criticisms I have of even the establishment Democrats are way better than the MAGA Republicans. They just are.
And Kyle is exactly right on this as well. Even somebody as terrible as a Joe Manchin was going to occasionally be on the correct side with the Democrats in certain issues. Now, he was going to go against the Democrats a lot of the time and side with the Republicans, but still, with certain issues, Joe Manchin was going to be on the correct side. And he wasn't going to just try to destroy everything, which is what we're having with all of these MAGA people who are just going to try to steamroll through the government and the country, and again, just extract as much as they possibly can for themselves, leave everything else in ruins. And Cenk Uygur goes and meets with these people like Charlie Kirk, and if he says, he talks about finding common ground, if he would say, hey, I know the Democrats are bad, lots of bad actors over there, and, Kamala Harris was bad, and Joe Biden is bad, but Trump is terrible, and, now you have Elon Musk in here and Vivek Ramaswamy, and they're going to be like, oh, no, Donald Trump is our God king. You can't criticize Donald Trump. There's going to be no area of agreement. Again, I don't really know what Cenk Uygur's game is here. Does he just want to ally himself with one of these right-wing shows? We'll have to see what happens. But he's not going on any progressive or left-wing shows because he says he solely is the left, that all the other shows on the left, that they're just grifters, shows like the Majority Report. And the other thing that I wonder about, how many of these conferences and events are there on the right? Seems like they have one every other week. And what are the comparable events on the left that you have, Kamala Harris or Joe Biden going to, where there are all these progressive speakers there? Let me know in the comments what left versions of all these events that MAGA has all the time are. So let me know what you think about all this. Let me know about what you think about Cenk. Let me know what you think about Kyle Kulinski's breakdown of this. This is Chris on Culture. I will see you in the next video.